Disney Cruise Line has recently announced that they're going to be building 4 more new ships, and we are going to do our best to fan cast these ships' themes, restaurants, where they might be going. We've got some ideas, and I am so excited to share them with you. So let's break it down. I think it's really important to look at the order that Disney has released their ships. The first 2 ships were obviously a test of the cruise market, and then the second 2 ships were just a double down on that initial test. So with Disney announcing 4 ships at once, they're doing it on a model that they think works. We can really go on the theory that these are going to be even more themed, more immersive, more entertaining, and based on the local markets that they are going to be assigned to. Whether that's the Asian market that will soon be served by the Disney Adventure or the new ship in Japan, or if it's for the American market that's already being served by other ships. And honestly, to me, it kind of looks like what they're doing at the resort, where if you go to Walt Disney World, you don't have to just stay at somewhere like Animal Kingdom, although we highly recommend their Savannah View rooms. They also have other options. If you want that classic or island feel, they're gonna have the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian. Something a little more perhaps immersive and fun, they're gonna have the All-Stars movies or animation resorts. They just have different flavors available depending on how you want to experience your time at the parks. So I think this is kind of the feel that they're going for with these new 4 Disney Cruise Line ships. Now, I have heard a lot of people speculating that these might be some smaller ships. The Magic and Wonder are the classic ships. They are well loved. The Disney Magic and Wonder are going to be 30 years old very soon, and the Wonder is one of our favorites, so I do hope that they take these longer than 30 years because cruise ships can go longer than that, and they take very good care of these ships. But for these next 4, I think if anything, Disney is going to double down on the things that are just working for them, which is at least the Wish class ship, even though there might be some differences. Obviously, Disney will learn from their mistakes. We're not looking at you, Deck 4. We are here to look at what they can do better based on what they've already done well. Before we dive into this, I do want to quote what they said during their announcement of these 4 new ships.
We're adding 4 more cruise ships to our fleet.
During the D23 fan event, he stated, quote, 4 new ships between 2027 and 2031, which means people will have 13 ways to experience Disney's world-class entertainment, renowned dining, and impeccable guest service in more parts of the world. There are 3 points here that we are going to jump off from. Number 1, experience world-class entertainment. That is what Disney is known for. That is what they do very well. And the Wish class ships are definitely having more immersive, more experiential entertainment options on board the ships. From their lounges to the restaurants to the youth clubs, they are just really diving into the experience of the ship. Number 2, renowned dining. The definition for renowned is a special experience. Of course, they have that already in their existing dining on the first 4 ships. It is obvious, though, that the Wish class ships are taking their dining experience to an entirely new level. So we're definitely going to dive into that. And the third piece is more parts of the world. We always want to hear that you can have the Disney cruise experience in more parts of the world. So we're going to look into that a little bit too. A little bit of history here. Disney Cruise Line started with the Big Red Boat. This was actually a ship that they had partnered with a cruise line to have it be Disney themed. So there was not a lot of theming on this, but this is where it started. And actually, technically, I guess we could say it started before that because Walt really loved to take the family on cruise vacations. He loved the ocean liners, and that's why we have that ocean liner feel in the Magic class ships, the Magic and the Wonder. The Magic and Wonder are both smaller ships. They hold approximately 2,400 guests, and while they are themed, their dining is not nearly as themed as the Wish class ships are now. After that initial test with the Magic and Wonder, it went quite well, and they doubled down with the Dream and Fantasy. Those ships are both larger and more themed than the Magic class ships. The Dream class ships also hold 4,000 guests, where the Magic class ships hold 2,400. So you can see here they are literally doubling down with the size. And then after that comes the Wish class ships. They initially announced 3 of them, which we now know are the Wish, Treasure, and Destiny. They actually have a 4th Wish class ship now with the ship that will be in Japan. Japan. So basing off this, we really believe that the next 4 ships are going to be even more themed. And actually, you can see a little bit of this on the Disney Adventure with their Imagination Garden. And you can also see it with the Disney Destiny. This is the 3rd Wish-class ship that they have just started making some major announcements about over this last year, and that is going to be the villains and heroes theming. The fact that they are taking this ship and completely theming it to heroes and villains throughout the entire ship is definitely an elevation from where they are with the Wish and the Treasure. And the Wish and the Treasure were already more immersive and more themed than all of the first 4 ships, so they're really going big here. And I want to use this heroes and villains ship as a point to jump off from. And I think that putting the Black Panther as the centerpiece in the Grand Hall, it gives us a clue into the direction that Disney will be heading, which is really just overtly theming the ship. I think it's going to be really immersive in ways they haven't done before. And it's not just that. If you look at the stern of that ship, Spider-Man and his spider bots are on it. And if you look at this, what Disney owns is heroes and villains, prince and princesses, knights, kingdoms. So this is what they can work from. Now I can see this going all the way to something like a prince and princesses ship with somebody like Belle in the atrium. And I think it gets really easy for them to start imagineering some of this out because they already have the Beauty and the Beast castle in Magic Kingdom. They've got those themes, they've got costuming, they've got recipes. We've tried the gray stuff. I'll be honest, I didn't think it was delicious. But they've got entire sections of the park that are dedicated to that theming. Another example is Cinderella's Royal Table. While you get to meet multiple princesses at once, I could also see them doing another way with just a storybook ship with Jungle Book, some of those old fun favorites that you could really dive into. It gives a broad enough theme for the ship so that all of the places can be themed but still cohesive. And that's something they really haven't gotten to yet until the Heroes and Villains ship. The other ships, for example, the Treasure is going to have Coco, Marvel, and 1923. These are great restaurants. They are not at all the same theme though. Where with the Destiny and the Heroes and Villains theme, they're going to have Lion King and Marvel as their 2 main themed restaurants, and these fit much better with the hero and villain concept. So I think they'll take that to the next ships. You can also see this with their Broadway style stage shows. These have been getting more elaborate as time goes on. And I think when you start to look at it this way, the possibilities really open up with what Disney can do with these 4 ships. Like with the Heroes and Villains ship, the theming goes all the way down to those stage shows. They're going to have Hercules as a new stage show on the ship. So it gets really easy to see a world with these new ships where they might have Belle in the atrium and then also have her stage show Beauty and the Beast, or something like the Cinderella's Royal Table where there's 4 princesses coming around, perhaps maybe each of them doing some type of entertainment while they're there. In the youth clubs, they have Fairy Tale Hall they could build off of. That would be a really great fit there. I also think they could use these simulators. This is for a roller coaster on the Wish class ships. I think this could really easily be turned into perhaps a fighting a dragon simulator that the young princes would enjoy, princesses of course as well. And again, I think a common thread here is looking at things Disney has done well and doubled down on recently to get an idea of what they will be doing in the future. And if you've been following these ships pretty avidly, you'll know that they've taken technology and then just reused it. For example, this 1 bar space has been used for the Skyline Bar for the Dream and Fantasy, the Hyperspace Lounge for the Disney Wish, and will be used for the Haunted Mansion Parlor on the Treasure and Destiny. They are just reusing this technology and re-theming it. Now, while they will obviously have lounges with more seating where you can just kick back, I think they're leaning into these smaller, more intimate, cooler, more themed experiences at the bars. And I also think they are using this to have more options to help disperse the crowds. You can also look at their sweet shops as part of this aspect of breaking up the crowds, and honestly, even the layout of the pools and the adult sections on the Wish, Treasure, and Destiny, I think are guided by that thought of breaking up the crowds. I think in particular though, with the Quiet Cove area for the adults, that one in particular to me was left better as a whole area. It is a lot easier to have that nice quieter atmosphere that way, and to make sure that there's not a lot of tiny humans running through there because it's just a big dedicated area to the adults. If you've been on the Wish class ship, you know that part of the adult area on that ship has a very loud accompaniment of the Aqua Mouse, and that's just not exactly peaceful. and that could probably be adjusted a bit. I do think they're trying to make every area and part of the day themed so that it feels like entertainment, like you're inside of a show. They are definitely leaning really heavy that way with the restaurants on the Wish class ships, and honestly, if we could fix anything on Disney Cruise Line, it would be their dining. These newer restaurants with the ultra themed environment are a lot of fun, but they are also a little bit tight on space. I think it would be great if they opened that up a little bit. I even think it would be a really great idea if they had a fourth main dining restaurant just to help break up the crowds a little bit, as well as have another experience, or make it a little bit less themed in that one restaurant. And given the fact that almost every option they've opted for at this point has a show, I think they're going to keep doing that and doubling down on it. Beauty and the Beast would be a great option here. A Little Mermaid restaurant could also be a great option. Triton's on the previous ship has some fun theming that would fit in there, but I definitely think they're going to take it into that really themed aspect with a show. Another fun theme I think they could do would be Star Wars. Now, while they did try this in the Hyperspace Lounge on the Disney Wish, that's all that it had was a youth club experience and the lounge experience. I think where they would have good success with this is if they themed the entire ship to Star Wars and made it an at-sea experience. There aren't any ports that are going to fit into that theme because it's hard to find a port that's going to be Star Wars themed. So an at-sea experience for shorter cruises, they do really love that model, and honestly, this is really the type of theming that needs a larger space, like I said, than just the lounge or the youth club. If you've got multiple lounges there in different planets, same with the restaurants, maybe be going to different planets for the meals. They could do some really fun entertainment here that you're not going to get anywhere else, but they still have those IPs already built out in the parks to take from. I think if they had done the lounge more of an Oga's Cantina feel, it probably would have been really popular. And the Wish class ships already have some Star Wars themed youth areas that they could use, and I think they could use the simulator again in like a really cool Star Wars experience. Fairy Tale Hall could be themed to Princess Leia and other Star Wars princesses, and so I think they're more likely to go with something like that. Prince and Princess or Star Wars, maybe a storybook theme where you can put in the Jungle Book, perhaps an Avatar theme where they're going to have different worlds within the ship. Of course, that's going to go really well on a cruise ship. I think these ships are just really going to be amazing, immersive, experiential destinations. They have even gotten into that dynamic of where the ship is the destination, which is going to call for that heavy theming as well. When they made this announcement, one of the most exciting parts to me was their quote, "more parts of the world." This has been an exciting time in Disney Cruise Line growth. Previously, they were pretty much going to the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Alaska, and Europe, and through the Panama Canal. They had a few others that they would throw in there once in a while, but those were the predominant sailings available on Disney Cruise Line ships. Now, we're going to have the adventure in Singapore for 5 years. We've got another ship in Asia with the Japanese ship. They've got the Disney Wonder now going to Australia and New Zealand as well as Hawaii. I think some of the ports we can look forward to seeing might be New York. There's a lot of requests for New York. I could see them doing a lot more Hawaiian cruises. I can see them going to Bermuda, Iceland, or even French Polynesia. I could definitely see that. They have already been adding in the Netherlands and the Mediterranean, and we want to know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you hope they do with these new 4 ships? If you haven't seen it yet, go check out our video from last week. There is a ton of Disney cruise news. Make sure you check that out.